NATO chief welcomes Trump decision to send troops to Poland. Trump says he's sending 5,000 troops to Poland, deepening confusion over U.S. military deployments to Europe. NATO allies bewildered by Trump's about-face on U.S. Live updates. Rubio says slight progress in Iran peace talks, but rejects Strait of Hormuz tolling system. Ebola outbreak death toll rises to 177. Deeply worrisome, WHO chief says. Live updates. Forbes opinion, Ebola is a terrible disease. I saw it firsthand. Frustrated Indian youth flock to a political party led by a cockroach. Newsrid rise of Cockroach Janata Party online protest movement bears to spook India's leaders. CBS News Cockroach Janata Party, CJP. How Abhijit Dipke's collective became an online sensation. Cockroach Janata Party. Top Indian judges spark satire. Protest India's Gen Z have flipped the lowly cockroach into a symbol of defiance. Alberta will vote on a possible referendum to separate from Canada. Here's what to know. The Alberta to hold referendum on whether to remain in Canada. Canadian Prime Minister says Alberta, essential. To country, as separatists push for independence. Carney says Alberta is essential to Canada after separation vote announcement. Time magazine, Alberta Premier calls vote on oil-rich region's future in Canada. Bloomberg. Gaza flotilla activists allege sexual assault and in Israeli detention. Freed Gaza flotilla activists allege Israeli abuse, including Israel's human wrecking ball. The Atlantic Israeli security minister who taunted flotilla activists has a record of extreme actions. News. Nobody better represents Israeli politics today than Itamar Ben-Gvir Ben-Reef. U.S. said to fire more interceptors to protect Israel in latest Iran war than Israel. Did the Times of Israel see more headlines and perspectives on Google News? Rubio tries to reassure NATO allies over U.S. troop deployments. Marco Rubio. Trump disappointment with NATO will be discussed at Summit Middle East Live. EU moves to widen sanctions on Iran. Threats to freedom of navigation. France 24. Rubio says U.S. troop movement in Europe is not punitive. Do NATO allies see it that way? Former Green Party by-election candidate ologises for sharing. False flag, post. Green candidate for Makerfield by-election quits after 12 hours. The Times Green Party candidate for Makerfield by-election withdraws after 9 hours. Ex-Green candidate D-post calling anti-Semitic attack a false flag. The Telegram Green Party leader Zach Polanski has issued a statement after the major announcement. He said the greatest threat was Nigel Farage's Reform UK and slammed Andy Burnham Facebook. Xi hosted Trump, then Putin. Spot the differences in Beijing. Russian offensive campaign assessment, May 20, 2026. Institute for the Study of War Spot. The difference. Putin gets Trump treatment from Xi in China. Bloomberg. Police investigation of former Prince Andrew examines reports of sexual misconduct. Here's a potential witness for the police officers investigating Andrew. The police. Marina Hyde, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor investigation could examine sexual misconduct allegations. Police urge witnesses to come forward in former Prince Andrew investigation. NBC News police urge new witnesses to speak out in Andrew Mountbatten Windsor inquiry. Turkey seeks to calm investors after opposition ruling sparks sell-off. Financial Times Turkey stocks start bouncing back after court blow to opposition Bloomberg. New record set as 274 climbers scale Everest's south side in single day. Record 274 climbers scale Mount Everest in a single day. NBC News record number of climbers summit Mount Everest from Nepali side despite overcrowding concerns. Yahoo record crowds reach the summit of Mount Everest this week. Outside Magazine Everest record holder Kami Rita Sherpa urges limit on climbers as crowds swell on the peak. ABC News. Breaking news, latest news and videos. EC trade envoys gather in China to discuss trade imbalances. Supply chain resilience. China calls for EC cooperation as Commerce Minister skips opening over, urgent official business. CNBC China's top trade negotiator urges EC to grow economic pie. Divided fairly, South China Morning, post-U.S.-China trade talks back and focus. At EC meeting, Nikkei Asia Commerce Secretary heads to Suzhou for EC trade ministers meeting, signaling resumption of high-level cross-border travel visa HQ. After the sirens, Lebanon's first responders swing between duty and grief. The picture show. Iran war. Slight progress in peace talks. Rubio says Lebanon says 10 killed in Israeli strikes on south, including 6 Hezbollah and Amal-linked rescuers. The Times of Israel-Lebanon says 21 killed, including children, in Israeli airstrikes. Israeli airstrikes on southern Lebanon killed 10, including paramedics and a child, officials say. Russia requests UN Security Council meeting after deadly Ukrainian attack on Luhansk vocational school. The Moscow Times: Putin accuses Ukraine of deadly attack on student dorm, orders military to prepare options. Russia labels Ukraine attack in occupied Luhansk monstrous crime. Vladimir Putin blames Ukraine after 6 killed in drone strike on school. Sky News: Putin vows response after saying 6 died in college strike. Bloomberg. Russia joins U.S. and Iran in voting against UN climate change resolution. The Moscow Times. In a rare show of global unity, countries adopt landmark climate ruling. Grist.org. UN's climate crisis vote shows political momentum is growing, say experts. UN backs historic climate ruling despite U.S. efforts to derail it. Euronews.com. U.N. U.S. concerned Russian campaign against Baltics could spark into something bigger, says Rubio, as at HBENED. Russia is guiding drones into NATO airspace, Estonia says. Bloomberg. Marco Rubio goes to India in repair mode. Council on Foreign Relations: Rubio embarks on another mission to ease tensions with allies. During NATO meeting news, Marco Rubio visits India. What's at stake with Trump-Modi ties strained? Africa summit in India postponed over Ebola outbreak fears. India-Africa summit postponed as Ebola spreads to M23 held DR Congo area. India-Africa Union postponed New Delhi summit amid Ebola outbreak. Continent of the future. Maskirti Vardhan Singh pitches for stronger India-Africa ties. The Tribune: India-Africa summit postponed as aid groups in Congo warn. Ebola outbreak is gaining momentum. ABC News. Breaking news. Latest news and videos. Trump says he wants Strait of Hormuz open, free, and with no tolls. Investing Live: Trump pushes Iran for toll-free Strait of Hormuz as House delays war resolution. Vote Trump's ultimatum to open Strait of Hormuz rejected. Dawn News headlines: 9 p.m. KVZTFHRCH0. Fathom Journal deal with Iran must see Strait of Hormuz open immediately, says Trump. The Independent: Trump rejects Iran's toll demand in tense strait standoff. As floods get worse, Britain tries a new solution: beavers. See more headlines and perspectives on Google News. Ukraine wants 200 Russian losses for every square kilometer it takes. Business Insider: Ukraine allies grow confident. Russia invasion losing steam. Bloomberg. Iran and Oman in talks over Strait of Hormuz ship payment system. The ally ignores Trump warning to buddy up with his enemy. The Daily Beast: Iran in talks with Oman over permanent Hormuz toll system. Bloomberg. Trump official tried to ban voting machines used by half of U.S. states. Trump goons crackpot bid to derail election exposed. The Daily Beast Inside. The failed MAGA push to hand count every ballot. The Independent: Trump officials explored unnerving plot to ban all voting machines. The New Republic World News Summary. Dev Discourse. Russia delivers nuclear warheads to Belarus as NATO tensions spike. Euronews.com. Something big taking place. Why has Russia sent more nukes to Belarus? Russian offensive campaign assessment. May 21, 2026. Institute for the Study of War. Lukashenko had a dream, and that dream went boom. Divers killed in Maldives cave may have taken wrong tunnel. Recovery firm CEO says no way out. CBS News 5 cave divers slipped beneath the waves in the Maldives. Why didn't they resurface? Ukraine attacks Russian energy sites. What has been hit? Ukraine says its drones hit another refinery deep inside Russia as long-range strikes escalate. News A's. Ukraine hits oil refineries. Russians pay a heavy environmental toll. The Exclusive: oil refining at a standstill in central Russia after Ukrainian drone strikes. Sources say Ukraine hits Russian oil refinery, Zelensky says, as Kyiv intensifies new tactic. France. Gunmen opened fire in 2 separate attacks in Honduras, killing at least 25 people. News: gunmen opened fire in 2 separate attacks in Honduras, killing at least 16 people. ABC News. Breaking news: latest news and videos. At least 24 killed in 2 separate attacks in Honduras. Gang violence kills at least 25 in Honduras. Honduras. Gunmen opened fire in 2 deadly armed attacks.